Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, still listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is going on, Man Hour Nation? It's your boy Brandon Combs coming to you live on Super Bowl Sunday. We are here at the Fitz compound. It is Sunday. It is Super Bowl Sunday. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We are going to talk with Tony Mayball, the Southside Bags Star of the Week. We are going to talk about the Cubs signing Fulmer, talk about Seiya Suzuki a little bit, talk about the Super Bowl, of course, and some of the Bears offseason. But without further ado, let me bring on my co-host. Here's Ryan Fitzgibbons. What's going on, Fitzy?
Yes, Casa Dave Fitz for Super Bowl Sunday. I'm pumped. I think it'll be a good game. I mean, it's not a lopsided game, but a lot of these Super Bowls now are. Remember back when? I mean, most Super Bowls were lopsided. But I think it's going to be a fun day. I think it's going to be a fun game. You know, I'm not looking forward to the commercials, but the game itself. So that's good.
Well, you got the Joe Namath jersey going right now. So what's your guarantee? Make a guarantee. You got Joe Namath on the jersey. You got to make a guarantee.
All right, I'll make my guarantee. I guarantee if it comes down to quarterbacks this game, which football usually does, Chiefs win. I even put my money down on it.
Did you
at the
hear
Ameristar and Hammond, not Hammond, Indiana, or it's like Gary?
Did you hear the interview with Jalen Hurts earlier in the week on Media Row, where the interviewer said, "I have to admit to you, man to man, I didn't think the Eagles were ever going to go to a Super Bowl with you as their quarterback."
Yeah, no, I did actually hear that. I forgot, what did Jalen Hurts say back?
He was like, a lot of people did. And then he's like, "So I just want to apologize to you, man to man." And Jalen Hurts is like, "Cool." Like, that is, but see, that's the stuff that I like. I like when you know, people don't beat around it and go political with it, and they just, hey, look, man, I didn't think you were gonna be that good. You're really good.
That was some of the better media questions. We'll get on later to some of the worst ones, but that was some of the better media questions. So I mean, I'll take that, and I think any player would be. I mean, that's almost a compliment of all the work he's done. And like you said before, I mean, that Eagles team could be a blueprint for the Bears, especially you know, especially if the Bears draft well. I mean, obviously they have to do well in this draft and free agency, but they build around him. I mean, isn't that the blueprint? And you could even make the argument that Justin Fields is way more dynamic than Jalen Hurts, at least with his legs. I mean, we'll see with the arm.
With the Bears, we're just like, don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up again. Yeah, because that's what they tend to do. But we're definitely gonna be doing about 95% football today. But pitchers and catchers report this week.
They do.
I'm geeked
so
out.
Excited.
I was watching a Caribbean series at work this week on my phone. I had it playing while I was working. I had the Caribbean series going. I was watching Dominican Republic play Mexico, and I love it. You know what I mean? Like, it's, to me, that's, I just like anything baseball I will watch at any point. You got the World Baseball Classic coming up.
Yeah.
You know, the Cubs just signed Brad Fulmer. And so, or Michael Fulmer.
Michael Fulmer.
Sorry.
Yep.
So that to me was a sneaky good signing for the Cubs. I think that added a lot of depth to either A, the back end of the rotation, or B, the front end of the bullpen. So I think that's a really good signing for them. They've said they're not done.
Yeah.
And I kind of believe them. I'm excited for what we're coming up with on the north side here. I really am. I don't think that we're still the best team in the division. I don't. But they're going to be a playoff team, I believe. I believe they're at least going to be fighting for a wild card spot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're definitely not better than the Sox.
No, not right now, but I do know a lot about Fulmer. I mean, he was on Detroit for a long time, once a highly touted starter in a rotation. You know, was even some trade talks when Detroit wasn't playing so well. But especially recently, he's been good out of the pen. And that's what happens to some starters, you know, famously Dennis Eckersley, but a lot of starters down the line. There's a great guy in the bullpen for the Sox right now, Ronaldo Lopez, who started out and had a pretty good year as a starter. And you thought he was just going to progress and then didn't. Now he's one of their better bullpen guys. He might be in that closer role this year because he throws a lot of strikes. Yeah, and he's very dynamic out of the pen, and you know Fulmer's been doing the same things. Not eye-popping stats, but definitely has the potential to be really, really good. And you're right; he could be at the front end of your bullpen too, or not yours, but the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it should be mine. You know, I should be the Cubs GM and president of baseball operations. We talk about it all the time, but you know, the team would look vastly different if I was. But look, I'm excited for what we're going to be able to watch. I'm excited for spring training to be starting. People ask me all the time, who are you rooting for in the Super Bowl? Well, I'm rooting for my money, and then I'm rooting for it to be over because we can get on with spring training.
Yeah.
That's the two things I'm rooting for today. My money to hit and spring training to start. So,
yep. Yeah, you got some prop bets, right? You're going for, and some interesting prop bets you brought up, which I tried to look at some of the prop bets, and I was going to add it on, so I ended up not betting a lot because I was saving it for some prop bets, and I didn't like any of them. I mean, I was looking at safety because they do have some good edge rushers, especially Philadelphia. Like, is that possible that maybe a safety could happen? But you know what? I mean,
I sent you one yesterday that I really like, and you know, anybody out there listening, whether you're watching us live right now on YouTube or Facebook, or even if you're listening to us on the podcast form, you know, a little bit later on here, which I mean, that's where we get most of our. Well, I think we had 2 million listeners in January. That's freaking insane. But if you're listening to this show before the Super Bowl starts, I think that this one's going to hit, and I would take it if I were you guys. And if you're listening to it afterwards and it does hit and you didn't take it, haha. At any rate, I have the Kansas City Chiefs on the money line. Jalen Hurts over 50.5 rushing yards. Patrick Mahomes over 4.5 rushing attempts. I think that's going to be because I think Hassan Reddick's going to have a big day forcing him out of the pocket. So it's going to be more running on necessity than design play call. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes to get 300-plus passing yards and 2 anytime touchdown scores with Travis Kelce and Devontae Smith. And a $50 bet on PointsBet wins you $3,610.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good bet. I like the bet. I like a lot of those bets for sure. And you have that. So you have the app on your phone. So you have the intestinal fortitude to not go to that thing and bet all the time. I can't put it on my phone, man.
Yeah.
I have partially an addictive personality, probably not all the way because I have lived to my 40th birthday. So, but I mean, I don't think I can put it on my phone, but I like the prop bets, man. I really do. I like almost every one of those.
And that's the thing, man. I'm going to put some money on it, and that's what'll happen is I'll be watching the game, and if the Eagles get up early, to say it's like 17-0, I'm going to go all in on the Chiefs to come back and win. Because they're going to be like a plus 800 or something.
Yeah, probably. Then that's a good one, especially the way that all the comebacks Mahomes have had. That's been insane throughout the years. Yeah.
Yes. And nobody, you know, I mean, with the Eagles defense, you know, I guarantee you that plus will get up there, and it'll be a big payout on small bets. But I would put a lot of money on the Chiefs to come back if the Eagles get up big. I just would.
Yeah, a lot of throwing yards. I have the under, though. So if the Eagles go up big, there's probably the over is going to hit. So, but you'll definitely have 300 yards passing by Mahomes in that case. I think you're probably going to anyway. He's going to have to really come up big. And he seems like a man on the mission. Over-under is 51, at least where I bet at Ameristar, which I think is pretty much the line anyway.
Bet that all day long.
The over? I had the under. I don't know why.
51 is just 27-24.
Yeah, I know. I'm insane, but I just think the
You
defenses
took
are.
the under?
I took the under. Yeah.
Oh,
I showed you the ticket, but those tickets are kind of hard to read.
I didn't. I scanned right over
Yeah,
that.
I did. I just think sometimes in these games that the defenses have a lot of time to rest, especially with the commercial breaks, all the other breaks, halftime. I just think sometimes the defenses play better. I did not look at the historic over-under for the Super Bowl, which I'm sure it's most of the time over.
I actually went in and was looking at it because you can create your own line and create your own over under.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about pushing the over under because it gets to like a plus 1,700 or something.
If
like
it's
that.
like over 60
over
or something
80.
like over 80.
I'm thinking over 8. Like I'm thinking Monday Night Football, Rams versus Chiefs. Like 5.
How
years
can we
ago,
be
it was
more
just
away
like-
from each other?
Like, I'm like,
Although you
that's
did
why
take
I'm-
the
I'm
Chiefs too, didn't
surprised.
you? You took the Chiefs too.
I
mean,
take the Chiefs just
yeah.
because it's Patrick Mahomes. We were talking before the show. I don't know how you bet against Patrick Mahomes right now at this point in his career. It's like Tom Brady was when he's winning all those Super Bowl. Hell, even this year, I wouldn't have bet against Tom Brady because he's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But I think you're getting there with Patrick Mahomes. I think you're right. It's the X factor. I think it is going to come down to quarterback play, and I trust Patrick Mahomes to not make that mistake late more than I trust Jalen Hurts not to make that mistake.
Yeah.
Late.
Yeah.
But he's proven us all wrong too, though. You know what I mean? Like Jalen Hurts is
That's why
proven
it's such a tough game to call, man. That's why it's 1.5, 1 and a hook. You know, and it's been 1 and a hook since they came out with the line. It hasn't changed at all. These are two teams that aren't very injured either. There isn't a lot of injuries or key injuries. There is some, but not anything really that jumps out at you. And I mean, I think it's going to be a close game. Let's hope. And if they get ahead, if the Eagles get ahead 14 points, that's what I was telling my father-in-law when we were walking out of the Ameristar. Like, if the Eagles go up 14-0 and it's 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, I'm fucked with my bet. Like, there's just no way. I mean,
you've got to put multiple bets down, right? That's not the only bet you're going to place today, is it?
I'll probably do a couple more bets. I would think if I download that app, though. Oh my god,
dude! I like the PointsBet app. I know there's a lot out there. The one that you sent me though from the Barstool Sportsbook made me want to throw a punch. Because you're supporting Barstool. Why are you supporting Barstool?
I don't. You know what? I don't think so. Weren't they bought? They just have the name. They were bought by like Pandu or something like that. I think they were, and they don't make money off that anymore.
Dave Portnoy is making money off it. I just like I don't know.
He gave Vito and Nick's a good.
I'll tell you what though, if Dave Portnoy came back to us right now and said, "Hey, would you guys like to be on Barstool Sports Network?" I would love Dave Portnoy. You know, so
and then eventually you guys would fight and you become one of his champagne bottles. Did you hear he has champagne bottles for everybody he doesn't like, and then he pops it when the person messes up or loses their job or whatever?
I hate him. I can't with this guy. So you came to me earlier this week and you said that you had an editorial. You also sent me something about some words that going on that you can and can't use.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start off with a new segment. I actually liked your name for it before the show. You told me what the name for it's gonna be. So this is gonna be the Fitz Gibberish segment. And dude, I love that freaking name.
That's basically my MO for the entire show. But the entire show could be called that. But anyway.
Yeah. So we'll get better with the visual and with the audio portion of this. But we've got a little bit of an intro, and then you're gonna do this editorial, and we're gonna talk about it here for a few minutes.
Yeah, welcome to the first installment of Fitz Gibberish with me, Ryan Fitz. Name obviously a work in progress. It's a weekly spot of bad language and even worse sports thoughts. A rant, a diatribe, a tangent, a sidebar, and an island in the middle of it, irreverent and sometimes inaccurate sports talk. We're around 7 hours away from Super Bowl 57, if my understanding of Roman numerals still stands, at beautiful State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, with a game time temperature hovering at about 75 degrees, which I was there, but our temperature isn't so bad here. Would have been a perfect time for a discount double check for Rodgers. Too bad they canned your ass, Rodgers. And you're at the worst spot in an all-pros career, old and mediocre. But I digress. Recently, Alshon Jeffries was asked during media night how much he is enjoying the week leading up to Super Bowl with the media spectacle that it is.
Honestly, I think this is terrible doing all this. I think that we could have stayed in Philly and come on Friday or Saturday.
I don't know why you'd want to stay in Philly when it's 75 degrees outside, but outside in Glendale, Arizona, it's probably shitty in Philly. But it got me thinking about Media Row. You did talk about it, or Media Night, Radio Row. To figure out how that all started, or how it first got popularized, we have to go to a place where Mike Ditka famously said was for cowards and losers. That place is the past. For a guy who ended the last 4 years of his coaching career at 20 and 44, I would say he spent a lot of time in the past.
Get your mouth shut. Get your mouth shut, jerk.
Speaking of Ditka, we go back to Super Bowl 20 when this game crossed the line from Super Bowl, from football to spectacle, to pure spectacle. The Bears were rearing up for one of the most predictable games in the history, if you could say. They would go on to trounce the then bad Patriots organization. With names like Sweetness, Refrigerator, and Danimal, it almost shaped up to be a WWE match. But it wasn't any of those names that captured the imagination of sports fans. It was the punky QB, James Robert McMahon Jr., who you kind of don't like. The reckless QB who just throws his body all over the field. We couldn't get a copyright to play any of the Super Bowl shuffle. He started by making headlines just week before by wearing Roselle on his headband, an obvious dig on Pete Rozelle, who fined the punky QB for wearing an Adidas headband just weeks before. According to several news outlets, on Monday night, the punky QB recorded a line for a Bob Hope special, posed for photos with Miss Hawaiian tropical Oklahoma, and then, after a night of boozing, doubled back to Hope's suite early the next morning to clean out what remained of the buffet. He also forced the Bears, through the media, to get him an acupuncturist for his butt because it got bruised in the previous game. The next day, he mooned a helicopter by showing the results of the acupuncturist. McMahon was just toying with the media, staying loose. He woke up on Thursday morning with a phone call from a woman calling him a rotten son of a bitch. McMahon, bewildered, made his way downstairs to the hotel to find out he had called the women of New Orleans sluts and the men idiots on a local Chicago radio show at 6 a.m. McMahon hadn't been up at 6 a.m. since his BYU days. Of course, the story was not true. The New Orleans reporter had not followed up on what he heard or made it up altogether. Fast forward 21 years, and we get the Lovie Smith being asked at the Bears' last Super Bowl by a German reporter whether he could smell the Super Bowl leading up to the big event. Nick Sirianni, the coach for the Eagles, was asked which one of his players would he let date his daughter. He answered, "My daughter is 5 years old." Nick was also asked if the Super Bowl was a must-win game. I'm not even going to show that answer. But let's go back to Alshon Jeffries here and listen to the last question he was asked about the Super Bowl. Let me see if I can get this ready.
Did you see the temperature for game day on Sunday?
We playing indoors.
That was the question. Did you see the temperature for Sunday, even though it's indoors? Well, Combs, how did we get here? At least in 86, we had sluts and idiots, and you could actually say sluts and idiots. Why aren't we talking about more interesting topics leading up to the game? I mean, really, why aren't there more interesting questions? Some would say it's the 24-hour sports cycle. It probably is, and news cycle. Too much media, too many questions. Nobody has any more questions to ask, so they just ask weird questions. They may be right, but I think they're only partially right. Stanford University recently released a list of their harmful words right before the holidays. Do you want to hear some of those?
Shut up.
You shut up, Mike. Anyway, one of them is walk-in. You can't say it's a harmful word to say walk-in. It's either drop-in or open office. It's language that trivializes the experiences of people living with disabilities. Grandfather, you can't say grandfather anymore. When you grandfather something in, you have to say legacy now. This term has its roots in grandfather clause adopted by southern states to deny voting rights to blacks. Well, I kind of get that one a little bit, but still, grandfather in has a different connotation all to itself right now. Guru, you're supposed to say expert or subject matter expert. In the Buddhist Hindu tradition, the word is a sign of respect. Using it casually negates its original value. You can't say brave either. This because it's against noble, courageous savages, Indians. But the fifth one I want to mention, and most importantly, man hours. You can't say man hours.
Oh, we gotta change the show name.
This term reinforces male-dominated language. I don't know, and like I said before, my question to you is, where does this go? If you can go into the future, where does all of this go? I mean, is Meteor Row going to be canceled? Are we able to ask the hard questions or talk about hard things anymore? Are we able to, I don't know, make things a little bit more interesting or eventful leading up to the Super Bowl or leading up to any of these things we do in America anymore? Or is half our language going to be cut off to where we can't ask those questions anymore?
That was awesome. It is 2023. And look, we get into a lot of the tough topics here on Man Hour and Person Hour, whatever you want to call it. But God,
like the name of the editorial fits gibberish. It's a working title, maybe.
It's one of those things where with some of these things that are going on now in society, it just doesn't surprise me anymore. You can't use this. You can't. The walk-in, that one.
That is probably the worst one. I mean, I even see
walk-in appointment because there are some people that can't walk. Well, there are some people that can't see. So could we not call it sight anymore?
Yeah.
I don't get it. There's a lot of things that
I think the first conversation we ever had, like when you were like, yeah, you could come on the podcast, because this was your podcast to start off with that I've interrupted. But and I said, look, man, I'm going to say whatever I think.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be
right.
And I'm probably going to be wrong sometimes, but I'm just going to say how I feel, and it's going to be very irreverent.
And that's what I tell people when they ask me about the podcast, and they're like, well, someday we'll probably end up seeing you on ESPN or somewhere like that. And I'm like, well, I kind of hope so, but at the same time, I kind of don't, because I like the platform that we're on, because I don't have to conform to the politics of any particular radio station. You can't cancel me because the name of my show is Man Hour.
Yeah.
Because I control it. You can't, you could not watch because the name of the show is Man, but it's the name of the show.
Exactly.
There are all sorts of things that people get offended about nowadays that is ridiculous.
And I normally, and that's the thing, what social media is this getting plugged into, these harmful words? Because when I first started with the podcast, there was a lot of people that are like, you're on a podcast? And it's like, I post it on my Facebook. These are people who are on my Facebook page who comment on my photos. We're like, I didn't see it. So is the algorithm messing with us? Could it possibly be?
I have family that says, oh, wow, you do a podcast?
And it's like, you're on my Facebook, and they comment on my kids' pictures. How are they not seeing this?
Right.
I don't know if this is getting plugged in. I mean, Stanford's right there, but not far from Facebook's headquarters. Are and YouTube and Google's and YouTube's and not TikToks?
I don't care. They, you know what? Facebook, YouTube, all these things.
Twitter's.
They try to silence or control what you can and what you can't say, even though it's supposed to be social media and it's supposed to be an outlet for you to say what you want to say. I don't know. I don't get it. It is what it is.
And it makes everything bland. It makes every conversation we have now bland. Is the Super Bowl a must-win game? I mean, maybe they would have asked that 20, 30 years ago, but maybe not. I mean, there's interesting storylines. There's thousands of interesting storylines about just the game.
How is that ever a good question? Is the Super Bowl a must-win game? That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard anybody say. Is the Super Bowl a must-win game? No, No, you don't have to win the Super Bowl. Well, right, but then you don't win the Super Bowl and your season's over. And I mean, just unbelievable.
Every playoff game is a must-win game. Heck, every game in the NFL is a must-win game. It's not like baseball where it's like, oh, you could give this game away. You know, you don't have, your starters are tired or your bullpen's tired. Let's just
Sunday
give this one a
lineups.
game. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We used to call it Ozzie Guillen's Sunday lineup.
Yeah.
When he bring in Pablo Ozuna and, I don't know.
Or as they refer to it on the South Side, just a Tony La Russa lineup.
Yes, Leury Garcia leading off, batting 170, batting 30 points below his weight.
And we're going to intentionally walk a guy who's batting 170 with a 1-2 count.
Yeah.
So, but all right, so that was great. I forgot about it. Anyway,
it'll get better.
We've got our Southside Bag Star of the Week segment, which is our weekly segment here with Johnny Torres, who is the head of Southside Bags. He's started Southside Bags. He's the president. He is the man. I met his wife this weekend, or this week, I should say, at Bourbon Street. So I was able to introduce myself to her, and I asked her politely. I said, "Look, I slipped her a $50 bill, and I said, hey, could you possibly get better internet?"
Shut up.
She promised that Johnny was going to come on. He was going to not be so shy this time. So without further ado, let's bring out my guy, Johnny Torres. Johnny, what's going on, boss?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Oh,
we can hear you.
It looks like my $50 went to work though.
Man. What a tough act to follow, man, you guys. I honestly think I feel like I just went through this AP course refresher with what not to say, what not to write about.
Yeah, exactly.
That being said, Chicago Human Hour with Combs and Fitz, presented by Southside Bags.
Don't walk into our show. Do not walk into our show.
Out of mind, out of no sight. No, it feels great, man, to be here.
Great.
We didn't go out last night, so we're good. Woke up, feel like a champ.
Nice. Not like last week or the week before, was it?
Johnny, I asked your wife, I said, when we're here on Thursday nights, man, he is live. He is on the mic. He is going for it. He's talking to everybody. He's cracking jokes. He's introducing people, and he's got this great personality. I said, and he comes on the show, and it's like he's afraid of the camera. He's afraid of the 6 people that are watching us live, as opposed to the 2 million who might be listening to it later on in podcast form.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I just have to maintain this type of professionalism, right, when I'm on the podcast, I think.
Why? We don't maintain any sense of professionalism. Why should we?
Hey,
our sound doesn't even work half the time.
No. I'm always going to be the same guy, whether it's through a podcast or in person or at one of my gigs. I'm always the same motherfucker, just so you know that.
Absolutely. See, there you go. There you go. See you drinking a Red Bull. I have the watermelon Red Bull.
I was about to say, is that extra red?
No, that's a good one. However, it's not sugar free. So my daughters drink that one.
I don't do anything sugar free.
No,
dude.
I'm sorry to hear that.
What's the point of sugar free? Like, you might as well just say, hey, just douse it in water, and then I'll eat it.
And some of that sugar-free stuff isn't good for you. Like some of the sugar-free additives, like they do it in a lab. I've seen the labs that they do the taste.
They still got to create flavor,
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Gupta. No.
Hey, don't you call me that. That's one of the words you can't call me.
Doctor?
No. Yeah, I suppose everything at the end of the day is bad for you, right? Even water is bad for you. So I'm drinking sugar-free. I drink sugar-free because I'm essentially tricking my pancreas that I'm drinking sugar. So
there you go.
Yeah. No, man. Hey, that hat looks great, by the way.
Hey, man, appreciate it. I was thinking about the hoodie or the jersey today, but it's Super Bowl Sunday, so I had to go with the Bears jersey today. But
hoodie? Did you walk outside? It's like freaking 60 degrees.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't even. I didn't even bother. I threw on a light jacket and
He's
called it.
completely naked underneath that jersey.
Yeah, I definitely don't have pants on right now, which really freaked out Fitz's wife when I came through the door.
Michelle, come get your husband, Michelle. He is acting up.
Yes. Get him out of here.
No.
All right. So this week's Star of the Week, Southside Bag Star of the Week is Tony Mayball. Why don't you introduce Tony Mayball to the people, let everybody know who we'll be talking to here.
This kid right here, he is from Michigan. He resides in Indiana now, but he used to be a basketball star. If my research is correct, he was a basketball star. He did teach. He was a basketball coach where he coached high school girls, and now he is a one-year pro, ACL pro. Give it up for Mr. Tony Mayball.
Hey, Tony,
right.
What's going on, buddy?
How's it going, guys?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
Good. I didn't coach women's, but it was men's.
Oh, John, you're messing it up.
Ninth grade boys basketball for my old high school, which I was cut from the basketball team my junior year, and then ended up making the starting lineup my senior year. So
That's
definitely
awesome.
was cool to coach under the guy that actually cut me. So that's pretty cool.
That's great.
Cool. I mean, hey, that's how Jordan got.
Yeah, that's your MJ story.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's perfect, man. So what's going, like, which high school did you go to?
I went to Roscommon High School in northern Michigan, small little town. Grew up on like a lake in the middle of the woods, pretty much. So,
Gotcha. All right. So
That's pretty cool.
you lived your whole life in Indiana, or?
I moved to Indiana probably about 2 years ago.
Okay.
2.5 years ago.
Okay.
So,
That's where we are now, Dyer, Indiana.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
we're here in the basement. I joke around and I tell people every week the Southside Bag Star of the Week. I knew I was in Indiana when I crossed the border, and there was a strip club, and then 5 seconds away from the strip club, there is a liquor store that is next door to a tattoo parlor, that is next door to a smoke shop, that is next door to a daycare.
sounds about right.
Sounds
About right.
And you're
I'm
from
like,
the
hey.
South Side, though.
Yes, I know.
I'll show you some stuff on the South Side.
I know, but look, I don't spend a whole lot of time by Comiskey Park.
Here we go.
So, Tony, let's get into it. First thing, usually I ask this question at the end, but right now we are on an amazing streak here, minus the interview last week where we had some Cardinals fan on, but we'll forget about him. Sox or Cubs?
Cubs.
Unbelievable.
Only reason why
Still
I go,
undefeated.
I'm a Tigers fan. I grew up in Michigan, but my grandpa, I watched him watch the Cubs for many years, and when they won the World Series, it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
So,
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
We have not had one
Dude,
Southside bag.
I
And this
like
is
the
a
Sox.
Southside
The
bag.
most passive aggressive, like Cubs and Sox fan. I like the Cubs. I like the Sox too. And then you cheer anytime someone's a Cubs fan, like a little kid.
because it's just like we haven't had one Sox fan yet for Southside bags, and it's
And we've
Southside
also
bags.
not
It's
asked
White
one
Sox out.
bags question yet.
I know,
We're
I know.
4 minutes in.
Hey, look, we're definitely gonna get there, but
No,
I mean,
let's
that's just
not.
kind of what we do. It's
Yeah,
kind of what
I
we
know.
do.
It is.
So why don't you ask
Sidebar.
your normal weekly bags question?
All right. So, performance enhancing drugs and bags. Well, we'll
Drinking.
call it bags.
Performance enhancing drinking.
Performance enhancing drinking. Is there a level of drinking for you? Is there a number of drinks for you, or do you not drink where you play good in bags? And then what is the number of drinks where it starts to go downhill? Not at
I
all.
think most people that have ever watched me play have probably seen me drink maybe 1 or 2 times completely.
Okay.
I only drink. I have 2 kids and I have 1 on the way. So usually when I'm out, I bring the family with me, and I don't drink and drive or anything like that.
No.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm not really a big drinker. I can't lock in when I drink. I don't know what it is. It's just not there for me.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, really. But
I do know that comes with the sport a lot of times. I see a lot of people, like, Even when you go to the pro events, you'll see people slamming beer at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, dude, I just can't do it.
I can't even do that. But I think it's like 3 or 4 drinks for me, and then it starts. And then if it's whiskey, it's like probably 2. If
Right.
I'm drinking just whiskey, once I get to like 3, 4, or 5, I lose.
See, I'm a softball player. I play a lot of competitive softball, and we would go to national tournaments. And we would get there Friday night. We would play our first couple of games, and then around 1 or 2 o'clock, we would get back to the hotel or the campsite or whatever we decided to do that weekend. And we would drink till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then our first game would be at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And so there is a level to where you're like, maybe we had too much last night. But when it comes to bags, I play on Thursday nights at Bourbon Street, and it never fails. Every time I walk past the bar, somebody's like, "Hey, do a shot. Hey, do a shot." I always started off with one shot. I always go and I get me and my buddy Billy a shot, and I always grab one for Johnny, and we kick off the night with a shot. And then I'm like, all right, I'll do one later on, like when I'm done playing. But it never happens. But I'm not good anyway. You know what I mean? I'm nowhere near a pro.
I've seen you throw a couple times at Bourbon that I went up there, and I see you working on it.
Yeah,
getting there for sure.
What can you work on, do you think? Or do you have any ideas?
Less drinking.
Start there.
It's just a consistency thing, and it's just more time. It just comes with time.
Okay. Now I started out with a step shot.
Okay.
And I learned that I feel more comfortable when I stand at the front of the board and I
over the line
still, but then after I let go, I have a follow through step, which he says it's illegal, but it's definitely not illegal. It's just a follow through step shot, and I felt like my consistency got a little bit better there. I've still never hit a 4-bagger, not once. I get the first 2 or 3 in, and then I go for that 4th one or that 3rd one, and like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mind thing or what, but the bag just goes like it's in some different direction. Yeah, exactly, like that.
Yeah, I gotcha. I I started playing cornhole about a year and a half ago. Never heard of it before then. My brother goes, "Hey, you want to go to a bags tournament?" And I was like, "Dude, what are bags?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "You can just throw $10. We can go try to win some money." Well, they put me on the broadcast court the very first game ever, and I hit the ceiling 2 times in a row.
I've done that. So, okay, go on.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, this is embarrassing, man. Like I played college basketball and golf, and you got me in here just making a fool of myself. So I came back to Valpo, and during COVID, I really started like learning how to do it. And actually, when we used to get a 4-bagger, we used to sign the board.
Yeah.
And I used to have everybody come over, and like I'd sign it maybe once or twice a month a year and a half ago.
Wow.
So it's like I said, it's just a lot of time and consistency.
I'm laughing because Johnny just sent me a private message through the chat and said I need to stop with the shot shit.
Would you say that how would you describe your throw? Is it more, because I have a loft throw, which I feel like not a lot of people have, and it's hard to be consistent with, but how would you describe your throw?
So I throw a faster bag, just always have since I started, really.
Wow.
I just try to stay smooth, and I try to not make any like sudden motions in my throw. So it's just one natural, like just throw it and it's smooth. And anyways, so I started throwing faster bags because they were a little more hole friendly, like a little room for air. And if somebody throws a block on me, I can just step out and try to go around it. I don't have to really change anything besides just the lane that I'm trying to land.
Okay. Now, do you have a specific arm angle that you like? Because I find, like, I was talking with Nico Morellis a couple weeks ago. He came down to Bourbon Street, and we were just sitting there, and he was kind of working with me on my shot, and he said that my arm angle was off. So when I throw, I don't have a straight arm. I just kind of like I've got a free toss, basically, is what he was calling it. So he said to try to straighten your elbow more, and you could feel it when you throw it that way. Like you could feel the difference.
Definitely.
and I felt like it's definitely something that has helped me get a little bit more accurate, but I just can't seem to shake that every once in a while, just going back to my normal habit of having that free toss. And I feel like that free toss helps me when I'm trying to push a bag. If I miss one, short, I can really get that low line drive a little bit better
Right.
with a free throw than I can with the straight arm. What do you like? Do you have an angle to your shot?
I don't really focus so much on the angle. I try to focus on my shoulders and my chest staying straight to where I'm trying to throw and land. And then also, it's just like I relate it a lot to basketball. Keeping my elbow tucked, because if you get a flying elbow on a basketball shot, you can definitely miss right or left. So if you keep your elbow in line with your arm and keep it tucked inside, you have less of a error chance to go right or left. And then I really just try to finish follow through right towards the hole and basically point my hand right to where I'm trying to land. There are some pros that like to stare at the board when they throw, and then there's some people that stare at the hole.
Okay.
I stare at the hole most of the time, unless there's like bags in the way. I'll stare at like the side of the bag that I want to like rub against to go around.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So
where on the board are you aiming? Like what's the spot are you looking? Like not just looking at, because I know you say you're looking at the hole, but what is the spot on the board are you aiming? Are you aiming for the front of the hole, the back of the hole, the center?
It varies. Say if there's a bag on the left side, I'll definitely be staring more on the right side of the hole, trying to wrap around and leave their bag there. But all in all, like I just try to put as many bags in the hole as I can, and if I take you in, I take you in. But I'll definitely try to leave you on the board if I can.
Gotcha. Now, are you a slide shot, or are you more of a? Do you like the airmail? Which shot do you prefer?
I do like. I'm getting better at the airmail. It's turning more and more. Nico Morales has been my kryptonite this year. I've shot like a 10-7 average like 2 times against him, and he shot above that and beat me. So, and the dude's got a nasty airmail, and so I've really been just taking a little bit from every pro I play and kind of putting it into my own game and trying to learn, as I go. This is my rookie year, so it's like definitely still a learning experience. I've beat some pretty big names so far this year that looking forward to beating some more. So
now, like Nico, so I like throwing against the pros, and it kind of came out of have to more than wanting to, because every time I get into one of these tournaments, Johnny puts me up against a pro every damn time in the first round. Yep. So I always say my partner is that I'll throw against the pro, because I feel like it's only going to help me get better, and I do.
Absolutely.
I'm a competitive person. If I'm not the best at what I'm doing, it drives me nuts, and I keep going until I become the best at what I'm doing.
That was me a year ago, man. Like every chance I got to play a pro, I would go over there and throw with them. Even if they're just warming up, I was over there throwing. I went to my first big tournaments, and I went to the top name pros, and I was just like, hey, can I throw with you? Because you're learning. It's just you watch and learn in this sport completely. And it's definitely helped a lot. And now even doing that, like say if I just went through with a pro a year ago, now that I've thrown with them, I'm a little more comfortable playing against them because I've sat next to them and thrown with them, even if it's practice or not, or in a game. It's just you're just a little more comfortable. I've already thrown with them a couple times.
What's the biggest piece of advice, or maybe the best thing you've learned just from watching a pro, would you say, or do you have one?
Body language. I'll say the reason why I say body language is because if I hit a really good shot and I see somebody get in their own head, you're already in their head. So my biggest thing is, like, if I miss a bag, I try to keep my body language to a minimum so they know that, hey, I just rub it off, go to the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My body language is terrible.
So is mine.
Well, it's just you can feed off it if you think about it. If you see somebody breaking down, like say if somebody misses a bag and they're getting all mad or something, you take an extra second to throw your bag. That extra second, they're still thinking about that bad shot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I tend to walk away a lot. If I miss my shot, I'll take a walk and then I'll take a deep breath before
there you
I come
go.
back. Kind of forget.
Almost like
it.
a pitcher on the mound, like a pitcher
Yeah.
can read a batter's body language to see, oh, he doesn't like that slider inside, does he?
Yeah, and if I find that you're throwing right after I throw my bag, because you like to throw your bags quick, I'll take that full 10, 15 seconds, whatever you get out of it before I throw my next bag, because I know
Right.
that you like to throw quick. So I'm gonna do whatever it takes to
Yeah, you want to break the rhythm for sure.
yeah. So if you could take on one pro right now, you go out right now, he's gonna show up to your house and you guys are gonna play some bags. Who are you beating?
Who am I beating?
Yeah, who are you calling out right now? I want you to call somebody out that you're gonna take.
Just wants to pick a fight.
Bring over here. Is it Nico?
I definitely like to get a win off Nico. Not just because like I've played him 4 or 5 times this year, and fell short 2 or 3 times. Like I had him 18-12 and ended up losing. And I think it was just there was another time I was playing Mark Richards. I was up 18-5 and 19-6, and I ended up losing. It's just I just got to get over that little hump. But I think once I get over it once, I'll be pretty solid.
That is awesome. So Nico has actually become a real big fan of the show. He watches it every week now. He messages me, tell me great interview or whatever the case is. So he's definitely going to hear this, just so you know. And
That's fine. We've played together, and I love playing against the guy because he's definitely making me better every time I play him.
That's great.
That's awesome.
He's
So
a good guy.
the next time that you go, there's these one pro and one non-pro tournaments that they have. Now, Nico let me down a couple weeks ago because he did not call me for this tournament that he went to. So I keep putting it out there, and I'm putting it out there for you too, Tony. Like, if you have one of these non-pro tournaments, I want to go. I want to go. I want to throw some bags, and I want to get my game better. So if you need a partner for one of these, in knowing that we're probably going to lose,
Don't do it.
Oh, definitely.
feel free to give me a call.
I play in a lot of tournaments weekly. I play 5-6 nights a week. So in the summertime, I definitely will be playing more one pro and non-pro. And there's a little kid out here actually just started. He's about 9 years old.
Wow. So cool.
I've been working with him. I'm actually trying to get into the Valparaiso YMCA and start a youth clinic and start growing the sport. And
Awesome.
he wants to come there. Thinking about doing it like 2 times a month to start out and just see how it goes. And I'll get a membership there and be able to go in there and throw when I want, which is 5 minutes from the house, which can't beat. But anyways, this 9-year-old kid, I've seen him just dedicating every Friday, and he comes up and he's asking me to throw and all this stuff. And I told his mom and dad this year I'm going to take him to a bring your own partner, and just to throw with the kid.
If I go to a tournament and I lose to a 9-year-old, like we're just getting drunk.
There's some pros out there that are young kids, and I've lost to a couple of them this year, and it's like, man, they have just no nerves. They just they're out for blood, man. Like they just they're there, dude. Like I'm like, dude, they're not gonna miss. It was 2-2 for 12, 13 rounds, and the kid looks at me, he goes, "Are you gonna miss?" And I said, "Well, you haven't missed either because the score's 2-2." So, but yeah, no, there's definitely some talent out there.
How old are these kids? What's the age limit for these tournaments?
So I believe there's 6 kids under 18 that are allowed to be pro. There's some kids that are 12 years old. That there's two twin brothers that are solid. They're actually pro partners this year. They were PDC last year, which is like, I don't know if you guys know Tom Gorski, but Gorski was PDC last year. He's also a pro now. They qualified through the PDC to become pro. They're solid. And then they have another kid named Alex Hicks that's 12 as well. He may be 13 this year, but the kid, they're ridiculous.
5-year-olds at Fortnite. Like I can't take doing it at bags now too. Like,
how many beers does it take a 12-year-old to play?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my word. All right, I'm starting to rethink this whole going to tournament things.
It's pretty crazy to see the sport growing as fast as it is, though. Like since last year to this year. Last year I was a competitive player, and then this year I ended up I went down to the pro qualifier. I lost, and then I ended up winning the top 100 Great Lakes pro qualifier this year to go pro. And just to see the level of talent growing yearly is incredible.
Yeah, and not only that, it's a lot like I liken what cornhole is right now is a lot to what the World Series of Poker was probably about 20 years ago, right? Like they started out and they would have a couple hundred players, and now they're at a couple thousand players every single year at the World Series of Poker. And I think that bags, cornhole, whatever you want to call it, is on the same route right now. Is there ever a chance that it becomes the American Bags League and not the American Cornhole League?
Only in the north. If you go down south and you call it bags, they're like, they look at you and stuff. Yeah. It's pretty cool, but they all call it cornhole down there. So
it's like the difference between soda and pop.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, I've ran into a few of those as well at tournaments. I'll be like, hey, can you go get me pop? They're like, no, I'll go get you a soda. I'm like, all right, that works too.
Yeah, it happened. That's how I started calling it soda when I was living on the East Coast, because I asked a waitress for a pop and she did not know what I was talking about. And I was like, I don't know, a Pepsi? And she's like, oh, you mean a soda? And I was like, oh, all right. So I started calling it soda just so they knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Kind of adapt your language. So, all right, Tony, we're going to bring Johnny Bags back on. Johnny, you got anything for Tony?
Hey, Tony. No, I just want to thank you for coming on to Chicago Human Hour with Combs and Fitz. A couple of things that I want to bring up to you. Behind every strong man is a strong woman, right? So your significant other is the one and only Amber Reed, who happens to be my conference partner. Well, at least I thought. No, she confirmed with me on Thursday that she continues to be my partner. So, yeah, shout out to Amber Reed. If you're watching, I know you're watching us right now. But, yeah, you always bring her out. You mentioned that you bring the kids, you bring the family.
That's great.
Tell us what does that mean for you, like knowing that you have Amber right by your side, literally?
I think it's awesome because I know a lot of buddies of mine that are pros and stuff wish their girl and kids would be more into the sport, and it helps like support wise. I mean, everybody in the local area is awesome support when we go out of town to play in these tournaments. The support that you receive in messages while you're there is unbelievable. So I do want to thank everybody for that. But with Amber being there right next to me is awesome to have. And with her taking care of the kids and stuff while I'm throwing is huge, because that's definitely can be a distraction. So shout out to Amber for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just peace of mind knowing that she's right there, literally right there, and the kids are right there. So yeah, a couple of other things I want to touch on. I see that you've been wearing your glasses nowadays. Something that I did not, I've been fortunate enough to see you grow as a player. We've shot numerous times at in the minor league for these local blinds, but we've seen you grow and develop into a pro now. And yeah, you didn't wear your glasses, so can you want to tell us a little bit about that real quick? I know we're running out of time here. Sorry. But...
No, you're all right. So 7 years ago I got glasses and I just stopped wearing them. And then I was playing cornhole and I took my brother's glasses and I put them on, and I was like, man, dude, I can see the board. And so I was like, this is wild. So then I could see bags hanging in the hole, and the whole time I was playing, I didn't have glasses. And then now everything's just a lot clearer, and I'm like, this is making it a lot easier. I can tell what's going on down there. I don't have to take a timeout just to go look and see what's going on. So now if I take the glasses off and throw, I see like 2 holes on the board, and I'm like, might as well just stick to the glasses at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Shit, cool. Maybe I need glasses.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The first time I put glasses on, I threw the bag over the board, and I was like, whoa. And then but the airmail feels a lot shorter now that I can actually see. So
yeah. Now you have a sick airmail. I know you were speaking on it earlier. You do have a sick airmail. Stop it. And Combs, to answer your question, you need contacts and glasses, I think.
Binoculars.
Yeah.
Will that help even with the shots or no?
Which shots are we talking about?
The screwball
shots.
Ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right. One more thing before I let you go, Tony. The hat. Tell us about that logo.
So I was down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, at the first pro shootout. I think it was about a month and a half ago now. They had a pro team draft, and I was sitting in the stands, and Missouri Mays picked me up. So I'll be throwing with Steve Bernasette on ESPN in April 6th, I believe it is, or 6th or the 9th. We'll be on ESPN in Corpus Christi, Texas. And so when I went back there, Steve was sitting there and he had his arms out and he's like, "Hey man, it's me and you. We're gonna throw together," which was really awesome to have, because my first blind draw I ever went to in Indiana, other than the very first one I went to down in Indianapolis where I hit the ceiling, was Steve Bernasette was there. So I'll be comfortable on the stage with him, and hoping to get a win and stuff with Missouri.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I the whole time I thought it was an Eagles hat. I thought it was a Super Bowl. I thought you had an Eagles hat on the whole time.
Missouri Mays.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Great. All righty, Tony. Tony the Tiger. I know you got a new line of bags coming out, Vortex bags. Make sure to be on the lookout, guys. Tony, if you want to share with Southside group page once that comes out, your discount code, please make sure to post that on there. Great interview. Again, thank you for coming out. We are looking forward to seeing you every Thursday at Bourbon Street, which you have been doing for the last couple of weeks now.
Absolutely.
As you know, it is kid friendly, so Amber and the kids are always welcome.
As long as it's kid friendly, I'm there. So I can get Amber out of the house. We can get the kids out of the house. So
and since you don't like drinking when you're playing, what I'm going to do is, if you're my partner, I'm not going to buy you any rounds. But if I'm playing against you, I'm coming up with a couple of shots to be like, "Hey, let's do some shots before we play."
I'll tell you what, next Thursday, if I'm at Bourbon, I'll definitely do a shot with you guys.
All right. Wow.
Awesome. Right. So good luck on ESPN coming April. We'll make sure to give you some Southside bag swag so you can rock it. All right. I know you have other sponsors, but you want to give a shout out to your sponsor really quickly before we go?
Yeah. So this season I picked up a sponsor out of Spark Apparel. That's a big apparel company for cornhole this year.
Sparky!
Yeah, so thank you, Spark, for sponsoring me. Another big one that I got picked up was Man Cave Mondays. Rob Bev, thank you for sponsoring me this year. My very first sponsor I ever had last year was Floor Solution, guy from Indiana. Just asked me if he could sponsor me, and I wasn't even a pro yet, so huge shout out to him.
That's awesome.
And then this year I chose to throw with Vortex bags, so get you guys self set of those Vortex.
Sick bags. Sick bags. You showed me the logo. It's amazing.
Yeah, they'll be releasing probably within the next week or so. So hopefully you guys can get up there. And then I'm also being sponsored by a kid that used to be in the local area, passed away from COVID and had cancer. Wow. Andy Heck. So I'll be wearing his name on my jersey this year as well.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, and as Southside Bags grows and becomes bigger, who knows? We might be able to sponsor Mr. Tony Mayball.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, look, before you get out of here, before we cut you loose, I heard you say Man Cave Mondays. And I tell you what, I saw their live stream this past Monday, and the final game of the tournament, the championship, it was like I think it was like 17-15, and there was this shot to end the game that he had a bag sitting on the right hand corner of the hole, and there was a bag sitting on top of his bag. He hit a shot that hit the top corner of the bag, went into the hole, and dragged his bag in and left the other guys on the board. It's the most amazing shot I've ever seen in my life. They've got some good bags going on down there. I've seen a couple of their lives, but that shot there, I was like, holy shit.
Definitely. Yeah, no, Man Cave Monday is kind of where I also started out. I started going out there, and the competition out there is definitely strong. We're in a hotbed for bags in general. Like between Indiana and Chicago, it doesn't get much tougher. So
great.
I agree with you. I think we have one of the toughest divisions here. Great Lakes, for sure.
All right, Tony. Well, thanks for coming on, man. We're definitely going to be talking to you soon. Look forward to seeing you over at Bourbon Street, and we'll have you back on the show again soon.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
All right, man. Have a good
one. Thank you.
Tony Mayball.
All right, Johnny, man. Another great interview. That one was we just kept going. It was another great interview. And you know he's a really good guy. Really good.
Seems like it. At third kid on the way, and he doesn't look very old.
No. When he said third kid, I was like,
kids having kids. Kids having kids. That's what it is.
Eventually, he might catch me. I mean, he's
got a ways to go for that.
Hey, Fitz, you see what you're missing on? You're missing all these great opportunities to meet great people. Look at you.
I am. I am.
We're gonna get him out there.
I'm gonna have Tony pick you up. He's from Indiana, so maybe he could scoop you up. Him, Amber, and the kids. You can help watch the kids.
That way you have no excuses. No more.
We've had a rough go of it personally here, but I think that for sure I'll be back. I'll be back over there for sure. So.
I'll be back.
All right, Johnny, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll talk with you again next week.
All right. Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
I wanted to share who we have next week. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Let me pull up my notes here. Sorry, man. We went over here.
Our rookie doesn't even have it ready.
Yeah.
No, they do. Okay, yeah. We have Jeremy Snellgrove.
Oh, gosh. I like Jeremy. Jeremy's good shit. That's gonna be another great interview.
Jeremy Snellgrove, great southpaw. We're looking forward to him. And then the following after that, we have the one and only Buddha.
I also happen to already know that Jeremy Snellgrove is another Cubs fan too. So.
Unbelievable. Don't even ask the question.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to tell you the next 5, 6 guests will more than likely are Cubs fans. So
shut up, Joe. You're doing this on purpose. It's petty. It's really petty. I don't care about the Sox. Sox got a good club.
Alrighty, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
it's always a pleasure.
All right, Johnny, man. Have a good week. We'll see you Thursday.
You as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, that was Johnny Torres, Southside Bags. Man, look, he's brought us some great interviews.
Yeah,
we've got some really good interviews. We've had a chance to meet some of these top line pros, guys that are at a level that we will never be at, because no matter how much we try, once we start getting into Bourbon Street, we're already half drunk. So it's just inevitable that we're never going to be at the level that these guys are at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Or as Alshon Jeffries would
honestly
say.
I think this is terrible.
That's basically how it's always going to be. But hey, that's the thing. We're good at a few things, and Bags is we're okay.
Yes,
so we're never going to be really, really good.
I won a game when I was there.
Dude, you hit an amazing shot to close it out
to close the game out.
Yeah,
even though Johnny's a lot better than me, but
yeah, I lost. Tony was talking about games that he lost, and I was up 17-3 with partners against Nico and his partner.
Yeah,
and they came back and beat us 21-17. Yeah, it happens, but it is what it is. So it's Super Bowl Sunday. We've got a big game,
pumped.
But we've also got a team here in Chicago.
We do,
sort of, but we expect more, right? Like we don't expect this to be the normal off season that it has.
No, it's going to be wild, and no one's going to agree with half the things they do. I mean, it is going to be a spectacle for sure.
Is there any way they can fuck this up?
Yeah.
How?
There's a lot of ways.
I mean, short of trading,
they're probably getting I think they're probably getting a defensive lineman, whether it be an edge rusher or a tackle. I really like Jalen Carter, but it doesn't matter to me. It looks like they're going to get him. What if the guy's injury prone? Well, I mean, Kevin White was supposed to be, even though he's a wide receiver, was supposed to be a no-brainer. He was supposed to be great. He got injured 3 times in a row, and then,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't, short of trading Justin Fields or not trading the number 1 pick and then taking, the defensive end or whatever, which will still be a great pick, but I think you're missing the boat if you're not trading the number 1, right? Yeah. Like, so short of those 2 scenarios where you either trade Justin Fields, which would be stupid. I don't care what
you don't have to do it this year.
Yeah, I don't think you have to do it, period, because I think once you build around him, you're going to see him flourish. There's very few people that aren't believers in Justin Fields, and they should be believers in Justin Fields, right?
Yeah.
Because he's shown the ability to be a solid quarterback in this league, and maybe even an MVP. He got an MVP vote. He did get an MVP vote this year.
He did?
Yeah. So I believe that you build around this guy. This upcoming free agency is huge. It's huge.
It is.
Because by the time you get to the draft, you should have already revamped your defense for the most part. Maybe not the edge rusher. I believe Khalil Mack's coming back.
Really? That would be nice. 9 sacks this year, had a pretty decent year. If he's healthy, I still think he's an animal. What is he, 32 only?
Yeah. And if you can get Will Anderson to play on the other end of it, I mean, Bears fans are going to be stupid excited. I really want to see them revamp the offensive line in free agency. I mean, I'm talking about maybe 3 new veteran pieces.
Orlando Brown Jr. Monster tackle for the Chiefs. But go ahead.
We're talking about the kid from San Francisco. Can't remember his name, out of Notre Dame.
McGlinchey.
You know,
Yep.
Those types of guys. 3 of those types of guys. And maybe a good solid wide receiver 2. Because, I mean, I don't believe you have that right now. I don't believe Darnell Mooney is a number 2. I don't believe Chase Claypool is.
I got to see more from Chase Claypool before I make a decision.
I think I've seen enough. I really do. I mean,
his first year, he had 800 yards receiving.
If I told you that I could go to, let's say, Arizona, and I can give them a 4th and a 5th for DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
Right?
I think he's going to cost a little bit more than that. I haven't looked at his contract. He does have a pretty heavy contract. So that
you
that
take
all
on the
feeds
contract.
into it.
You've got the money to do it. You take on the contract. You
No,
give
I
them
love
a 4th and a 5th. It doesn't even have to be. It could be this year's 4th and next year's 5th, or vice versa. This year's 5th and next year's 4th. Whatever
Runs
you
a
want.
great
to do.
route. Can run pretty much any route.
Right. And then if you're
Great
trading,
hands.
if you're trading up, to me again, I still think that the dream scenario is to trade to 2 for Houston. It'll let them get up to number 1. Then you flip that over to Indianapolis. You get the 2 and the 12 from Houston. You flip the 2 over to Indianapolis for the 4. You either get Will Anderson or you get the kid, the 3 technique from
Jalen Carter, from Georgia. Yeah, I like him a lot.
And then at 12, you pick the best wide receiver, which he might not be on the board anymore, but I've talked about him before, Quentin Johnson from TCU.
Yeah.
Or even if you can go get the kid from Alabama, like you can really, by the end of this free agency and the end of this draft, people should be talking about you being a real threat in the NFC.
They absolutely, you should be competing for a division. I mean, you have some games where they might have quit. I mean, at least the coaching staff seemed like they quit on,
I can name 3 or 4 right off the top.
Yeah, and you have a couple games that missed extra point. A terrible call on my boy, I guess, Chase Claypool at this point.
Or
a terrible call where he got tackled in the Minnesota game where they almost came back on.
Yep.
I mean, they were a second half team.
The Green Bay game where they were a complete first half team and then just decided to not do anything in the second half and let Green Bay come back and win. You know what I mean? Like you could see the smile on Aaron Rodgers' face knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, we should have really gotten torched in this game.
Yeah.
They're letting us win this game. So
one of Fields' better games through the air.
Yeah.
That second Packers game.
Yeah.
Really, that was the one where I always say if you just look at the stats, you're missing the point. I mean, he outplayed Aaron Rodgers in that game. He outplayed a lot of people.
If you had to put a percentage on Aaron Rodgers going back to Green Bay, what would it be?
I think it's a coin flip.
See, I think it's more like 5%.
Really?
Yeah, I don't see a scenario where he's back in Green Bay for 2 reasons. One, I don't think he's happy in Green Bay, and I think he hasn't been happy for a long time.
Yeah.
But for 2, I think Green Bay is ready to move on. I really do. I think both sides are ready to move on. The only way I see him coming back is if they just don't get any offers for Aaron Rodgers, which I don't see. I think Vegas is a real possibility.
They're at the Brett Favre stage. I mean, wasn't Brett Favre around 38, 39 when they kind of put him out to pasture? And I mean, he could go on to play on a good team. I mean, San Francisco, what a soft landing spot that is. Or even Tampa Bay still has some tool. Will have some tools around him. I don't know if he wants to play.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is more of a destination for
Derek Carr, maybe.
Derek Carr, or maybe even Lamar.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I could see.
Already got him out of.
Yeah,
Not
I
going
don't know that
Baltimore, I mean-
Baltimore's going to pay him. From what I hear, they're $100 million apart.
He's the number one free agent, I would say, now that Tom Brady's out of the conversation.
Yeah,
You know?
and you put that out there. So I mean, I could see San Francisco for Aaron Rodgers just because you put Brock Purdy as your backup and you let him learn under Aaron Rodgers.
Whoa! What about Trey Lance?
Who?
Talk about a guy who was outplayed the first game of the season. Justin Fields looked like a grown ass man. Trey Lance looked like a boy.
Yes, and then week 2 he didn't look good, and then week 3 he didn't look good before he got injured, and then he was out the rest of the season.
Yeah,
I don't think Trey Lance is the answer. I think Trey Lance
unreal.
I think Trey Lance needs to go somewhere. You know where if they don't re-sign Lamar, I can see Trey Lance going to Baltimore, making a trade to San Francisco.
That's kind of a soft landing for him too.
You get Trey Lance, and he's got to be better than their backup there. What's his name? Huntley.
What's that?
Something Huntley. I forget his first name.
Yeah.
So he's got to be. He's better than Huntley, I would assume.
Huntley,
He probably was a starting job there, but I don't know, man. I don't think that the Bears are going to screw this up. I don't.
It'd be kind of hard.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a team where that could, fuck up sacks going into a bordello with a fistful of 50s.
We say it all the time to my mother-in-law. You can fuck up a one-car funeral.
Yeah.
That's the Bears organization. And so I think as Bears fans, we're on edge because free agency starts Tuesday, right? Monday or Tuesday. It's usually directly after the
Yep,
Super Bowl.
it is directly, usually, yep.
And so it's going to be fun over the next couple of weeks. We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about heading into our live on draft night, because we are going to be live on draft night at Bourbon Street. It's going to be a great time. I'm actually going this Thursday night to finalize all of the
exciting. It's going to be great.
We're going to have drink specials. We're going to have food specials. We're going to have prizes, sports memorabilia prizes. We're going to have some great stuff out there. So guys, definitely come down, check us out at Bourbon Street. The night of for night 1, round 1 of the draft,
April 27th. My father's birthday.
Is it your?
So he'll be there too. He'll bring his mustache as well.
And we're gonna buy him rounds after. We're gonna get your dad fucked up. We're gonna get your dad fucked up.
All
on
right.
his birthday. And it's all. I mean, it's just gonna be a great night. It's gonna be a great night
It
for
really
Man
is.
Hour. And it's gonna be a great night for Bourbon Street as well, because it's gonna be a good night. Let's just put it that way. But
honestly, I think this is terrible.
I don't see any way. Like I said, I don't see any way the Bears mess it up, and we're gonna know by draft night what their plan needs to be.
Yeah,
because
you said this, and it it's a good point, which I don't say to you much at all. But that we are going to know where the chips are going to fall at least a little bit. I don't think they're going to want to show their hand too much, but there's not a lot they can do. I mean, they're going to have to do stuff in free agency before the draft.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And no matter what they do in free agency, you're not like the storyline of the possibility of Justin Fields being traded will not go away, because it's always going to be a possibility.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe you beefed up your offensive line and you went out and got some wide receivers, but you could be doing that for Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, who Justin Fields knows pretty well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to trade a quarterback, it's just insanity, right? But it is something that the Bears would probably do in the past life, hopefully.
Yes.
Is trade a guy who has shown that he can prove it on this level, so that
And then you pick up,
might not be able to do it on this level. You know what I mean?
Although I went down a Will Levi rabbit hole. That's a toolsy player, but it's like basically getting Justin Fields.
Yes.
I think he's ahead of at least CJ Stroud. Will Levi. I mean, just for tool. I mean, those tools are pretty enticing.
It's fair to say, right? You're not getting anything that's better than Justin Fields.
No,
right
you're
now
not.
in the draft.
You're not. There's no Joe Burrows out there. There's no Peyton Manning.
But even if you had those guys coming out of college, they're still not a proven
Yeah,
commodity.
no. I
in the
mean,
NFL.
Peyton Manning was a dumpster fire his first 2 or 3 years. He set the interception record the 1 year. I think it's been beaten by Jameis Winston at this point.
No, it was what's his face last year.
Who?
He set the rookie interception record was from Jacksonville. the guy who everybody.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. Yeah.
Build your prototype quarterback. It would be Trevor Lawrence, and then he threw more interceptions.
Have fun with that.
He did have a bounce back year this year, but I think
he had an okay year.
I think it was an aberration.
Yeah.
I really do. I wasn't a believer in Trevor Lawrence before the draft, so I'm still not a believer in Trevor
I thought he'd be better than this. I mean, but it's only 2 years. You never know. Third year, that's where quarterbacks go to live or die.
You're gonna know next year what Trevor Lawrence is and what he needs to be. So big game today.
Yes, I'm excited. I don't know if the mic picked it up, but my stomach is growling for the food.
Yes,
we have wings. We have pizza.
We've got so much stuff.
Yeah, buffalo chicken dick. My wife just made. You could taste it on your way out the door.
Did you just say buffalo chicken dick? It sounded like you said buffalo chicken dick.
One day we're going to be able to roll back the tape. We can't do it now. Our crack production staff is on crack. So once we can, we will know.
I'm gonna go back later.
No, you're
and
not.
clip this.
No, you're not.
Find out what you
one
said.
of our clips.
And then we're gonna be able to use it on their soundboard. It's the buffalo chicken. But anyway, we went out and got a bunch of stuff yesterday. When I get home after the show, I'm gonna make some stuffed mushrooms.
Oh, portobellos?
Yeah, I make some. Yeah, portobello. You put in. I've got this cream cheese. I mix it with. How do you say this, by the way? We had the conversation the other day. I put it with Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire,
See,
which I love because I love Bloody Marys. I should have a Bloody Mary today.
Yeah, see, we were talking. Some people call it Worcestershire. I'm like, what the? It's Worcestershire. It's the way I pronounce it. Anyway,
shut up.
With some sausage and some sharp cheddar, and then I bake that into the mushroom.
Oh man, that sounds so good. We love stuffed mushrooms.
Yeah.
Here. But I call them portobello because that's the female.
Yeah.
Of portobello.
We can't. It's
Powerful language.
It's the people version.
The people person.
So we'll call
Persabello.
Portobellon. Portobellon. But so
Portobello X.
We're looking forward to food, but I'm sure we're also looking forward to bets, right? I mean, we talked a little bit earlier about side bets. I know you don't have an app on your phone, but I mean, like the in-game betting is huge for the Super Bowl.
I know. I just don't trust myself. I don't, unless like it would be cool if they can be like, okay, you can only bet for like 2 hours a week. That is your time limit, and you could pick any time limit you want, but it's only 2 hours.
Here's what you do.
Okay.
You put, let's say, $200 on the app, and then you hand your wife your card because on the app you have to put the card number in every single time that you
that's pretty
cool. It doesn't
cool.
save your card number, so you have to do it every time. Give your wife a card and be like, "Don't give this back to me today."
Yeah, that's kind of a good idea for them to do.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
I might actually do that. I once got kicked out of a riverboat in St. Louis because they wouldn't let me take 3 cash advances on my credit card. I was in my drinks, and I couldn't. I was yelling at some guy. I don't remember it all.
Honestly, I think this is terrible.
It also doesn't. For what I don't know about you, like my bank, which pisses me off.
Yeah,
I can't use my debit card because my bank has a block on sports gambling.
Chase does that to me.
Yeah, so I have to use the credit card. So it's like to me that's more dangerous.
I think
because it's not coming directly out of my account, right? Like it's not.
Do you have Chase? Do you have Chase?
For my minimum payment.
Do you have Chase or somebody else?
No, I have.
Okay.
I use Huntington Bank.
Oh, okay.
But it's crazy. So
Huntington gives a lot of money to the Sox. They have the Huntington Stadium Club and a huge bar.
They should have named it Huntington Park as opposed to guaranteed rate with zero pointing down. Like, I still don't get that. But,
shut up.
All right. So it sounded earlier like you're on the Chiefs. So
I am. Yeah, I am. I mean, I just think the quarterback's going to be the difference. I like the Eagles' defense, but even I'm just saying Justin Fields isn't Patrick Mahomes. That's not saying much. But Justin Fields did well against the Eagles.
Yes.
I mean, Darius Slay was on his podcast, like saying, "Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. We were trying to contain him. If it wasn't for him stepping on a bounce, that's that's probably the best run I've ever seen. He threw us on Riddick off of him. He goes outside, fakes up a couple other guys, and then does that spin move at the end, but he jumps out of bounds.
All right, so
here we go. You got
I'm on the
something
Chiefs
on your
as
phone.
well. I do. I'm pulling up the novelty prop bets off of points.
All right.
I'm on the Chiefs just because I think that Patrick Mahomes is the difference maker, but I think Hassan Reddick is a difference maker too.
Yeah,
I really do. If he can stop Mahomes from getting around him and getting out to the edge before he catches him, because Mahomes just finds a way to make things happen.
Yeah.
I think it could be a different ball game. And if you do that, then that's where the Eagles have a chance, because I think they have a clear advantage on the defensive line versus the Chiefs' offensive line.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to come down to. I can't put my money against Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going Chiefs as well, straight up in this one. Now, if you ask me about, am I the spread, which I believe right now is at like
1.5.
So, obviously I would probably still take the Chiefs. It's actually, is it the Chiefs? The Chiefs are plus 1.5, so you're getting a 1.5 with the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, I'm taking the Chiefs. But let's get into some of these novelty props. You tell me what some of these are. Now the coin toss, obviously it's 50-50. It's heads or tails. That's a minus 105 on both. Coin toss winner, same difference, right? But you get into some of the crazy stuff, and as I'm pulling it up, total double coin toss winner. That's weird. Here we go. Where are the?
I remember in the Bears Super Bowl, one of the bets were would Tiger Woods shoot over or under the amount of yards Thomas Jones would have. That was kind of a cool prop bet.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
that's when they first started those kind of bets. Well, I'm sure they've been around, but
over under 2 minutes for the national anthem.
Over.
Okay. I'm going under on that.
All right. Who's singing it?
I'm going under on that. The national anthem singer is
Whitney Houston.
No, it's a country singer.
We're getting demonetized for that comment.
I don't think Whitney will make it today. She's a little
you got to talk to her about Virginia.
Yeah, maybe she could bring Virginia back with her.
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton is singing the national anthem.
All right.
So I'm gonna go under the two minutes.
Yeah, we're probably less vibrato.
Yeah.
From a male voice. So
yeah,
I think I can go under too.
Yeah.
Change my mind.
So there's what's the other prop bets here? We've got color of the Gatorade. Right now, for the Chiefs, if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, the number one pick is for the color of the Gatorade to be red. So that has the lowest odds. So that is a minus 150. And you go yellow, it's minus 100. If you go green, it's plus 100.
Eagles.
Yeah. So
do they do that really? Isn't it usually just orange?
No, there's different colors.
Oh, okay.
But that's the thing. Like,
I'd never be a detective.
A lot of people would think that it's usually yellow, right? Because that's the old school.
Yeah, the first one. Yep.
But to me, that's a bet that can really be. That's a tough one, right? Because if somebody on the sidelines has in on this bet, that's a really easy one to change, and nobody would ever realize it.
Yeah.
Like nobody would ever be like, "Oh, wow."
Plus, the bet isn't that enticing. Like if it was like 10-1 purple or something like that.
Yeah,
I might go with that. Or if it was the beginning of the season and they were like, then the bet was at like 30-1 for purple.
So at the end of the first quarter, for the Eagles to be winning, it's a plus 330.
Yeah.
For the Chiefs to be winning at the end of the first quarter, it's a plus 310. And for a tie at the end of the first quarter, it's a plus 150. So you're getting good odds either way that you go. I might go Eagles here because I do think that the Eagles might end up jumping up big. I think they might end up with a 10 to 17 point lead, maybe even by half.
That would be crushing for my bet. That'd be terrible. I want a couple punts to start the game with my under.
I don't have 0-0 on any of my squares, so I want
that was a decent prop bet I saw. That 0-0. I mean, maybe that's what I should have bet, seeing that I'm going for the under. And then if I got that, I'm probably going to get the under. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So nothing right now
for any quarter
is a plus plus 160 only. For the quarter one to be the highest scoring quarter is a plus 600.
Damn.
I might go with that.
Yeah. That's not a bad bet.
For the Eagles to put 17 up in like the first quarter or something, or 10 up in the first quarter. I don't know, man. Maybe quarter 3.
I'm going to end up kicking myself for this, but my brother-in-law loves these kind of bets and always has some ideas on lines. We should have him on the show now and then. We should probably today, but too bad, Tom.
Yeah,
he does. He's a decent fan of the show too. So yeah, and go through not just prop bets, but how he bets, his whole philosophy, what he thinks is going to happen. He's pretty good at it. He's been doing it a long, long time.
So highest scoring quarter one is plus 600. Quarter 2 is plus 160. Quarter 3 is plus 500, and quarter 4 is plus 200. I might take the quarter 3 as a plus 500. Coming out of the half, one of the teams might need to score a bunch.
Yeah.
Usually in the fourth quarter, especially if it's a tight game, they kind of tighten.
Long halftime too. Long halftime break. You get like 20 minutes for the half, maybe even more.
Yeah, I think it's more. I think it's more like 30, 35
That's why I thought there could be a possibility. Both teams have a pretty decent defense. That's why I was thinking under.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to be pushed off of it. And I thought the Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl from the beginning of the playoffs. So I wasn't going to go off that either. I'd be kicking myself if it went the other way. How did that go?
Well, they were in the AFC title game.
Yes, they were. And they were field goal away.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, they didn't get killed. I mean, they got killed by the referees. I mean, every injury that Kansas City had last week, they replaced it with a ref. So
unbelievable. I don't know. I mean, that game, yes, it was
terribly officiated. How about Roger Goodell doubling down, saying, I don't know if you heard this.
No, I didn't. I try not to listen to him.
He was on Radio Row for the Super Bowl this week, and they asked him about the officiating. He says he feels the officiating in the league is better than it's ever been.
No.
How can a man who
no way
that much football?
No way. And the rules committee sucks too. I mean, some of the rules just suck, and how they're like making it even worse for defenders to defend anything, like almost every year, and it doesn't really make much sense. Like,
look, I know it's his job to protect the league, but don't you have to come out with a little bit of honesty and be like, look,
you would think,
we have very good refs in our league. I believe that they're doing the best job that they can, but there are definitely areas for us to improve.
Yeah.
There are some things we have to talk about this offseason. There, and that is still defending your guys. That is still protecting your league.
Yeah.
But you just come out and tell everybody flat out that everything that they're seeing, not even believing, but seeing, is not accurate.
I don't know how you could say that right now. It seems like when they had those replacement refs, it hasn't gotten better since then.
No.
And there isn't really a lot of accountability. They had to say sorry. What's that?
Replacement ref's still there.
Yeah, I know. Did they ever leave? I'm sure they kept some of them on. I'm sure. I know. Well, that was really, really bad though. Like a couple times they didn't even know the rules and bringing the book out. Yeah.
Still laughing Packers fans about that.
Yeah.
The officiating is terrible though. I mean,
and it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
It is. They had to say sorry to the Bears a couple times, including that game that I already said where they tackled Chase Claypool at the end.
How about the one where the ref took a step back and shoulder bumped Roquan Smith and then threw a fucking flag for Roquan Smith touching him? And then said that it wasn't that
was the Pittsburgh game. That was he's gone. I forgot the ref's name, but he's gone. He resigned.
Really?
Unquote. Yeah. He's gone, and that was that Pittsburgh game last year's season. That was a great Justin Fields game. Actually, he almost brought the Bears back.
That could have been a breakout game for him if it wasn't for that penalty.
Yeah. Many terrible penalties in that game.
God, it gets to the point where you start looking at officiating now, and you're like, there's something there. Like that, you're doing nothing to quiet the people that are saying the NFL is fixed.
Yeah.
You're doing nothing. And at me right now, like I don't believe the NFL is fixed. I do believe that there's something with Vegas, like we've talked about before.
Yeah, there could be almost like accidental collusion, like just they know that that's where the pick's going, or it could be intentional collusion. Yeah. We would never know.
Do you think that the NFL scripted? Did you see the script that came out for the Super Bowl already?
Oh my God,
37-34 Eagles, which would crush
my over under. No, didn't they come out? Didn't Arian Foster come out saying that was all just a joke? Which I said it. We both said it was going to be clickbait, but now the script is out.
Well, what like? How do they refute that? Even if it's not scripted, which I don't believe it is.
Yeah.
The final score today is 37-34 Eagles.
Yeah, that's going to be bad. I don't know how you can make the score. Like actually get it to the right score. I mean, you have 22 guys going at each other.
Yeah.
Like pretty hard, where one guy almost died this year.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to get the score right. That's crazy. I mean, you might be, this team's going to win and this is how we want to win. But even in wrestling, they're not doing the entire fight. They're saying, yeah, you're going to win by a suplex at the end or whatever in wrestling. But you guys, do your thing, do all your specialty moves or whatever. And then at the end, whoever's going to win wins. I mean, they could do it that way. Give Mahomes the ball with 1:15 left, or Jalen Hurts and a couple of timeouts. Make sure refs make sure other team make sure he comes through. I don't think you could do a score. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't see how they could ever get that done. But again, the NFL has that, especially if there's bad officiating again in the Super Bowl, which I can't imagine how they'll find good officiating because I haven't seen it all year in any game that I've watched. So I don't know how you find good officiating. But if that's the right score at the end of the game, I don't know how the NFL refutes that. I don't know how the NFL will explain that off of, hey, this came out this way, 37-34. Maybe they'll explain it by the quarter-by-quarter box score that the guy had. I mean,
yeah,
it's not the same. But, I mean, it would be a tough refute for the NFL for that.
Yeah, if it is. But I don't see that happening. Yeah. I see the under coming through.
You hope it. See, couldn't you have hedged your bet there, bet the over, but also bet the under? I've seen people doing that all over the place. Like we were talking about,
just bet the under a little bit more than the over, maybe, and hedge. I try not to hedge when I can. I try not to really do a lot of parlays, believe it or not, because when I think a team's going to win, I'll just take that. Now, if the Chiefs win and they go over, I'm going to be a little pissed off.
What about the guy? I don't know if you've seen this yet, too, but what about the guy in Vegas who hedged his bet at the beginning of the year in September? He put a bet down on the Super Bowl, put two bets down on the Super Bowl, one for the Chiefs over the Eagles, one for the Eagles over the Chiefs. Chiefs over Eagles paid out, I believe it was $12,300. Eagles over the Chiefs pays out $15,000. Either way, this guy's going to have a really good night.
Yeah. Yeah, but how much did he bet? Well, yeah, I guess
he bet $130 on the Chiefs over the Eagles and $100
oh God, yeah.
$10
There's no way
over the Chiefs.
Either way.
Yeah.
That's not a bad bet.
No, but I mean, like,
but you didn't know the Eagles were going to be this good. Yeah.
If you believe you're correct. I mean, it's $200. We've spent $200 on worse stuff, right?
Yes, I have.
Like, I mean, you frequent that strip club that I've had. So, I mean, you spent
no way.
You spent $200 on worse things in the world. If next year I might do something crazy with the Bears. Like, let's put $200 down
Bears
together.
Who? Bears Chiefs, maybe.
Whoever.
Yeah.
Bears versus this, Bears versus that, or maybe just the Bears will go to the Super Bowl. I'm sure the odds will be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
We might have to do something.
Maybe another double doink will steal the money.
I guess we can talk about the double doink right now because of what happened to the Cowboys this playoffs, right? You feel okay about the double doink because at least he was close.
Yeah.
The Cowboys kicker was not even close.
No.
Just wide left. It's wide.
Way
left.
Wide.
All right. So we're going to get out of here. It's been an hour and a half. We got some Super Bowl food to go eat, cook, do all that other stuff. We got
Absolutely.
the pregame show to watch. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys will enjoy the Super Bowl. Definitely be safe tonight. Don't drink too much. Hope everybody hits on all of them.
Shut up.
All right.
We want to get boozed now.
We're getting out of here. Have a great night. Till next week.
Thanks,
Man Hour
everyone.
Nation, rise up.